Okay, we're talking about the super agent, Scott Boras. We're talking about the head of the Players Association, Tony Clark. And John just made reference. Cody Bellinger, one of the Scott Boras unsigned big money free agents, signed a 3-year, $80 million deal with the Chicago Cubs. It has opt-outs after the first year and after the second year. It pays him $30 mil, $30 mil, and then $20 mil. So I guess in a sense, Boras won because he gets the client $30 mil immediately. And if Bellinger has another great season, he can stay and he'll get another 30. If Bellinger has a substandard Dodger type season where dude hits 198 again, I don't think that'll happen. He could still stay and get the 30 million. So I guess it's win-win, but I just happen to think Bellinger, Wrigley Field, right time, right situation. Second name, New York Mets star Pete Alonso. He's going to be a free agent at the end of this coming season. Guess who he just signed with to represent him?
Scott Boras.
Yes, and the New York Mets promptly announced there would be no negotiations on a contract extension with Peter Alonso till they get to the end of next season. Here we go. Then you got Juan Soto, and he's represented by you-know-who, Scott Boras. Juan Soto's debuted with the Yankees, actually had himself a really good first game in pinstripes, 2 for 2 with a massive 3-run home run. Yankees are not going to negotiate with him. So we're sitting here right now looking towards the end of the coming season. Bellinger, Alonso, Soto, all rep by Boras, are going to be on the free agent market. Everybody's going to play the prices right. That's an amazing story. Tony Clark sounded off. He's making the tour of the spring training camps. Tony Clark was approached by the commissioner's office about the possibility of a free agent deadline. In other words, we have all these guys who become free agents in November. The baseball wants a deadline of maybe December 31st. You have that window to negotiate contracts. And Tony Clark says, no, we're not going to do that. These guys have played for 6 years. They have a right to take in all the offers, take as much time as they want, see if things change. What goes on in November might be different than what's going on in January.
Yeah.
Tony Clark says, no, we're not going to do this. And then baseball kind of dropped the hint. What we're doing is because we want to market the game. We want to make the winter baseball meetings and the Hot Stove League really special, and we think a deadline window would be great. To which Tony Clark says, it's your job to market baseball. It's not my job to save the game. So that's where we are with that. Also, there's a lot of conversation about the pitch clock. I thought it worked really well last year. Major League Baseball has indicated that they're changing the rule for the pitch clock this year. The pitch clock is going to go from 20 seconds down to 18 seconds when you have men on base. Now, the pitch clock stays at 15 when there's nobody on base.
Okay.
So the 15-second pitch clock, as weird as it was to get used to, it really worked well last year.
I agree.
And so now there's a conversation, and Clark thinks that's wrong, that baseball's tried to change the rule. But see, Tony doesn't have any say in it. They don't vote on that. They gave baseball the right to change rules, whether it's designated hitter or stealing bases, blocking the plate. All that comes out of the commissioner's office. Union can just bark about what they like or what they don't like. And they are barking about uniforms. I have not seen the new Nike uniforms that they're arguing about, but everybody that's covering spring training and whose teams have the uniforms are writing about the lettering looks weird, the coloring looks weird, the pants, which are made of a different fabric, supposed to be cooler, they look weird. They're kind of see-through pants. So, and Clark says they should have come to us and talked to us about how the players are supposed to look. So Tony's got opinions about the union should have a right to say everything, including what bar of soap you use in a shower. It's kind of weird. So, John, the table is yours. Comment on the free agents, comment on Boras, comment.
I want to talk about the uniforms.
Okay.
Because this is unbelievable. You haven't seen the picture. I mean, literally, you can see through their pants, and the pockets are hanging in the pants, which gives it a little bit of blockage. But where there's no pocket, like right in the middle, you could see right through, and you're thinking, how in the heck could they do this and not run it by some players and test it out and ask, what do you think? I mean, that's mind-blowing. And I was listening to, one of the national radio guys yesterday, and he was saying how Major League Baseball just keeps screwing this thing up, where the NFL and NBA have such disciplined approaches to their offseason. And how in the heck could you blow it on uniforms? I mean, it reminds me of George Costanza when he worked for the New York Yankees and he sent them out with new uniforms and the players hated him and it was all big trouble. So
I've got friends that work for Reebok who used to have the contract. And they're just standing there and they're just laughing at Nike and the embarrassment. But you can always, quote, recall them. And that might happen because this kind of looks embarrassing. What do you think about the free agent window? Should there be a December 31st deadline so we compact it all around the winter baseball meetings and make the hot stove league really important in December?
No, you can't do that. I mean, now granted, I know you have a deadline for trades, which makes sense. But these guys, it's like, imagine if you were negotiating for your next job and there was like some arbitrary deadline you had to get it done by. I mean, that's just sort of dumb. So they should have the time. Now, granted, if we could wave a magic wand, if we had utopia, yeah, of course, we'd love to see them all sign early, and then we know what the rosters are looking like. But in a way, it's good that it lingers. It gives us something to talk about, and it makes the off season and the opening of spring training camps really interesting when there's so many big names that are not there.
Maybe what you could do is have the month of December with a winter trading deadline. You can't make trades after December 31st. So that gives you the end of the season, October, November to December 31st, the end of the meetings, to AJ Preller to make a 12-player trade. And then you have the window of free agency that starts in November. Run that till January 31st. That'll give you 2 months where all the scope is going to be on Juan Soto and Cody Bellinger and, all these pitchers who are still unsigned, Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery, because then February 1st, everybody gets ready to go to spring training. Maybe that's a way to keep the attention span going of have a baseball trading deadline through the end of Christmas. And all of January belongs to the free agents. You got to sign them and spend all your money because February 1st, we're going off to spring training.
Well, no? It's kind of like, to what end? Like you understand the reason for the baseball trade deadline and all the other trade deadlines is so that it doesn't compromise the roster for the playoffs, right? But what's the point here? It's just to kind of have a nice, clean marketing calendar so you can communicate. So do the NBA and the NHL and the NFL, do they have anything like that, like trade deadlines or signing deadlines during the off season?
Yeah, they have dark periods where you can't do anything. And then bingo, everybody knows that NFL free agency starts the first week of March. And you got the draft the end of April.
Okay, so they've done that.
Oh, yeah, they've done that. NBA's got a trade deadline. National Hockey League has a trade deadline. National Hockey League free agency is July 1st. July 1st, 28 players will sign on the first day of free agency. All the marquee guys come off the board just like that. So it's a marketing tool.
Right on. Yeah, of course.
So baseball should consider something, but I don't think you want to mandate, you got 15 minutes to make a decision whether you're going to the Orioles or taking the Padres contract off.
Yeah. Well, I generally don't like that kind of like as a, in the world of business, having that arbitrary deadline. But if the NFL and the NBA have done it to success, and remember, Major League Baseball could probably learn a little bit from them from a marketing perspective. Okay, maybe I might reconsider that. Maybe it might make sense.
That's important coming to this guy. This guy's obstinate about everything. Okay, we go from that.